Toscano wearing
What
Legends
up?
brand, it looks like, right?
Legends. Hey,
Yeah.
once a sponsor, always a sponsor.
They'll be back. They'll be back.
Legends is awesome. I will
We do
give Legends. This is good. This is good quality clothing.
we do right by our sponsors. Here on the
Um,
Garden Report,
Fun game.
we got Jimmy here. We got the other knuckleheads at the Garden, and they will join us in a little bit. And we'll see what happens there. I'm not sure if Sherrod, he could be there. It could be a surprise. But we will get Bobby and Josue to join us in a little bit. First off, we want to tell you about our sponsors. As we say, we're so good to them, and they are good to us, of course. We'll start with AG1 Athletic Greens, right?
Shout out AG1.
Garden Report brought to you in
You know,
part by Athletic Greens, your one-stop shopping destination for 75 high-quality vitamins to help you start your day right. Right? We like that.
AG1 baby on a Monday morning.
Yeah.
You need to start your week off the right note. Little
And
AG1 get you
Calm,
through there.
#1 mental wellness app to give you the tools that improve the way you feel. Fun game, right? Energy was
Real
great.
fun.
It's kind of, I wish I was there because it had playoff vibes when they were in that little comeback mode. You could tell people really wanted it. The Celtics sleepwalked through probably 2.5 quarters, I'd say 2 quarters and 9 minutes. And then
Yeah.
you had Peyton Pritchard comes in with about 3 minutes to go in that third quarter, saves their ass with some incredible hustle
That's
plays. Yeah, that's
exactly what you want to be as a pin with teams flat.
you
You
want to
looking
be
at that?
sparky like that.
You want to be sparky. It's all about the plus minus when you're bench. You want to give your team a jolt. You want to sort of turn around. And Peyton Pritchard is the, I don't know if I'm not going to say unsung here because we're singing his praises, but he is the guy that sort of catapulted them and turned everything around. So shout out Fast PP, the Boston Pea Party, as we once coined him last year.
Yeah, yeah. The
Hawkeye.
I like the Boston Tea Party a lot.
Yeah, Boston Pea Party. I don't know why that didn't stick.
Yeah, I love it.
um,
But yeah, we are singing his praises because I'm leading the show with it. Turning point to this game was Peyton Pritchard, where he really kind of got the Celtics back into it, made that a manageable deficit heading into the fourth quarter.
they were just pushing the pace. They were pushing it. Him,
But the
Smart,
hustle
and
plays, that
White.
end of the quarter
Yeah,
steal, I mean, all of
that
that
was
stuff was
awesome.
just unreal. And it's couple games he's done this now. He's got that super highlight one at the game I was at against Denver where he rips the ball out of DeAndre Jordan's hands and puts back the bucket. He had 5 offensive boards that game. He's again grabbing offensive boards in this game, doing all these things, hit a
Yep.
really deep three. He had 2 possessions in a row where Jaylen Brown's just slapping the ball all over the place. One of them ends up in Pritchard's hands. Boom, he drains the 3. Just unbelievable. And then Smart and White. Exactly how many shows did we do, Jimmy, where they lost and we're screaming, "What the? Why is
Why are they
Marcus
shooting?
Smart? Why is that guy taking the shot? Why
Every
Marcus?"
every time Derek White takes a shot, I just like slink down in my chair and I can't
Uh,
watch. But
why are
gotta give
those
him
guys
credit.
shooting late in a close game?
They
And he
were
did it.
they were hitting him.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart. I mean, we talked about Payne Pritchard, but Marcus Smart had one of the best fourth quarters of his damn life
Oh my
tonight.
God, was he awesome?
He was everywhere, hitting shots, driving to the basket, energy on a trillion.
Bully ball.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Bully
bully
ball
ball.
in the post, driving to the
Absolutely.
basket. The and one he got with Giddy, he just friggin' rammed into him. He's like, "Yep, done. I'm drawing this foul." The post up play, the drilling the huge 3. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, he really was, and again, it was just I think part of it is Pritchard sort of sparking him a little bit, but he got it going. I mean, that 3 hit that off that little broken play to Tatum. I mean, that was the dagger right there, pretty much. I mean, he did have one little bonehead play. I mean, trying to that layup in the end where he got caught for the offensive foul, like just run the clock out at that point. But aside from that, great performance from him. Love what he's been giving them this season. Stepping into that, like he's giving me leadership vibes. Marcus Smart's giving me leadership vibes out there, captain level vibes. So
But it's like
I like
it,
like what I see.
Yeah, it's what and it's easy to say when it works. He's like such a classic no, 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 yes guy,
Yeah.
with some of his shots. But like he only took 2 threes in this game, so he's not out there chucking.
No,
He was
he has
working
some
for his
nice
points.
passes.
His finishing this year around the rim has been better. His left hand has been amazing. Just kind of going left, finishing with his left. He's just strong. He plays through contact. Yep, right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Plays through contact. And this was one of those where, like, I think they wanted him to do what he was doing, tonight in this game. It wasn't one of those like, why is Marcus doing this stuff? I mean, they fed him the post. They swung the ball to him. Yeah, it wasn't a force.
Well, and it really could have been because Tatum had a rough start to this one, shots wise, and anyone else could have said, "Oh, well, if Tatum's not going to do the scoring tonight, I'll do it. I'll try to be the guy." But we didn't get that. And they just eventually let the game come to them. Play a different style, that run and gun, sort of fast-paced offense that the Thunder were playing too. I mean, it was a very college level type game, like just with like the full court back and forth that was going on. It just felt like a lot of action on like that. But shout out to the Thunder. They get a fun young squad there.
Oh my God, it's like I guarantee for a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people here at the Garden Report, and obviously there's tons of you out there who watch a lot of basketball. But you're just, unless you're on League Pass every night, you're just not getting a chance to see a lot of players on the Thunder, and certainly one of the most under the radar stars in the entire NBA is SGA.
Pokashevsky.
Dude, that guy's like, they got some guys that surprise you. Wiggins on that putback dunk. Oh my God, but like
that was nuts.
Oh my goodness. But like, SGA is just relentless. He just goes and goes and goes. I mean, Jaylen Brown is going to, if he goes back and looks at the tape, he's going to want to destroy all the evidence from this game, because it's a tough matchup for everybody. But he's great. Poku was great. I mean, they just had some good ball players. They're fun. He's fun. He's creative.
He's going to be awesome.
He didn't play a great game, but he's fun.
Dort
to watch.
Don't forget my guy Dort.
Dort is like
Dort's just like a thick dude. Like he
smart,
must be really hard to
guy.
defend.
Yeah.
Anyways, shout out OKC, but the Celtics are wagging right now, and they're hard to beat.
It's a friggin' wagon.
They're a wagon. The Bruins are a wagon. We won't
and the
talk
Patriots
about the Patriots.
Patriots somehow snuck into a playoff spot. I don't know how that is.
Patriots didn't play this week, but gained ground on the entire AFC.
Anyway, I mean, look, and again, this just speaks to this team. It's so interesting. Like, you got a night where Tatum, again, just brutal from three, some were in and outs, some bad shot selection early from everyone. Clearly no real emphasis on defense until they decided to turn it on again late in the third and into the fourth quarter and keep things reasonable. Again, you gave up 69 points in the first half. You gave up 53 in the second half. That's manageable. OKC cooled down a little, but a lot of it had to do with some increased defensive pressure from the Celtics to kind of keep this thing a game. And then it's again, foot on the gas sort of situation. That's how good these guys are right now, Jimmy. It's like they didn't play great. They let themselves get down to a pretty good team by 15 points. And then they just decided, all right, winning time, and they won it.
Well, what I liked about this win is that they didn't rely on the 3-point shot to win this game. It was clear early. It was clear early on. That's what I mean. It was clear early on that they weren't going to win that way, and they adjusted. They changed their style of offense. They decided to attack more, run and gun. Whether that was all by design or not, that's what ended up transpiring down that second half, fourth quarter. So it's good to see them win in different ways. You don't want to just live and die by the 3-pointer. I mean,
36 of 59 from two, and they attempted 29 free throws. So yes, they absolutely were like, screw it, head down and let's go. And that's what they did.
Yeah, they got to the line a ton. I mean, I know the refereeing was pretty abysmal in this one. I don't want to get too far deep into some of those ref technicals and some of these phantom fouls, but They got to the lines more than they needed to, and
So
that was.
I'm throwing this
what do we got
comment
here?
up because it's being attributed to me, but it's not me. But it doesn't matter because it's still worth talking about. It was Bobby who was worried what happens when they go cold from three, and it turns out nothing happens. Meaning
They get hot from two.
they find a way. That's why I'm less concerned with it. That's why I'm less concerned anytime they have a game where something isn't working. For just this team, I'm not super concerned with them because I do think the defense is there when they want to turn it up and play it, and I do think that offensively they're not reliant on the three. I think they're shooting it because, again, they're usually good shots. They're shots that are earned. They're shots that they got by working the ball around and getting good movement, and all percentages reflect it. They're just better quality shots, and guys are knocking them down with more regularity. Tonight, some of your more reliable shooters just couldn't drop them. And so, like you said, Jimmy, they just tried something different. Again, Tatum 1 of 9. Horford, who's been up around 45%, 1 of 5 tonight. Jaylen Brown 0 for 5 from 3. Hauser 2 for 5. That's a bad night for him. So again, 27% total from 3, 10 of 37, and everything else they did, outside of the stripe. Again, didn't play a great game, but again, the turnovers not super high, limited to 14 against a team that I think is top 2 or 3 in the NBA in steals. All of that stuff's pretty impressive. They had 15 steals of their own, so they really started turning up the D. 15 steals, holy crap, that's a big number. So that's it, man. They turned up pressure. They took the game. This is ours. We win. Milwaukee's losing to Atlanta tonight.
Pass break points 24, points off turnovers 23, 64 points in the paint. Like, they just did it in different ways.
Yeah, I think we got Josue joining here. He's hydrating and he's jumping on. What's up, buddy?
Oh, holla if you hydrate.
Hell yeah. What a game. What's going on,
Brad?
guys?
How you doing?
I'm impressed, guys. I'm impressed. This is an impressive win for the Celtics. It wasn't pretty, but in that second half, they cleaned it up. They made the plays when it mattered most. And Marcus Smart, of all people, came up big. I know you were screaming no at your television screen, John. Don't lie. No. Oh, wow. I can't believe he made it.
Well, that's what we said. He's like,
shot.
he leads the league in no, yes shots. Yeah, he leads the league in those, right?
He does.
But he's been playing much smarter basketball. Like, for example, after he made the big three, you don't think a year ago he takes another one, and he had the opportunity to do it, right? No, he went inside the teeth of the defense. Derek Wright put 2-pointer on the corner. You know what? He did 9 of the last 12 points from the Celtics. Well, besides the Tatum free throw at the end.
Yeah.
Look at that, Sherrod.
That's what
Sherrod too.
Sean Portnoy is supposed to do.
Hey,
clean things up.
Through the week because Jimmy's here.
Must be a what now?
Must be a day in the week because Jimmy's here.
I'm here, baby. I ain't never left. I'm always here, even when I'm not.
Right.
Remember that.
Marcus, we remember you and we miss you on Green Room on Spotify. We miss you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat shout out. So Sherrod, Josue, Bobby, all at the game. Sherrod, your initial impressions on this one? What we talked about early, where the Celtics, I think, just kind of sleepwalked through almost 3 full quarters, turned it up in the third. I actually think that the turning point there was Pritchard going in for Grant and then being the spark plug there, and then to quote Jaylen, the energy shifted.
Well,
Shifted, yeah.
Well done. It did, but I mean, it shifted because they did something that we haven't seen them do much of this season, and that's play defense. Things changed when they decided that we're going to lock down, we're going to contest shots, we're going to rebound, we're going to get out in transition. When they made up their minds to do that and do it for the duration of the game in the fourth quarter, and I would say probably near the end of the third, that's when the game changed. All of a sudden, they became the team that we thought they would be, a team that could play elite defense and make things happen when it mattered most. This was a good win, really good win, because they played like this a year ago and they lose by 15 without any doubts in my mind. But for them to get back into the game and find a way to win, this was a really good win.
We've seen a couple versions. We've seen a Celtics team in the past that doesn't try for too long in the game. Then when they finally do, they just can't get it. There wasn't enough there to see it all the way through. And they would lose a game like this. We've also seen little engine that could sort of Celtics teams that like play their asses off for 3 quarters against the big juggernaut, and then they lose, and then they go home and they feel good about their moral victory. That's what OKC was tonight. And the Celtics are the big bad juggernaut who are like, okay, you guys have had your fun. Now we're going to win this game. And that's what they did. And they're like, that was cute. And you guys are fun. And we'll definitely give you some taps. But, you know, we were always going to win this game. I don't know if you guys got the memo or not. And that's kind of what this game was like.
I tell you what,
Yeah, but did you expect that though, John?
Pretty damn good.
I did expect it. I did not honestly,
expect it.
I did expect a run was coming.
Yeah,
I thought it'd come sooner. I thought it'd come sooner.
I did not because I mean every time they seem to be making that push.
Let me correct myself.
OKC would push back.
Right, and listen, I should correct myself. I didn't think it would happen that way. Right? I thought it would be maybe Jalen Tatum sort of taking turns to chip away the lead, and you know, there with a couple of stops. But this team reverted back to that, maybe not that defensive-minded team, but you saw how important the defense is because if the threat isn't falling, if you're not executing well on offense, that's what happens against a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder that has a top scoring guard and you know, SGA. So look, I thought the Celtics again, the defense showed reminded them how important it is that they're moving forward. However, it also showed that it's almost muscle memory for these guys in the fourth to revert back to getting those stops when they need it most. But it's not always going to be a happy ending for these guys. You know, that's the difference. And if Peyton Pritchard didn't go off, or Marcus Smart rather, either one of those guys didn't do what they did in that fourth quarter, I'm not sure they squeeze out of this one with the win. So.
Cosign. Facts, my dog.
Facts, dog, is what people say when they weren't listening. It doesn't actually mean they agreed with you.
Well played, John Zannis.
I just want to put that up there.
No, after the long pause.
I thought you guys knew that. I thought we all knew that.
Those are facts, my dogs.
Those are facts,
right
dog.
there.
Literally, that is when I say it.
Yeah. That's it. Anyway, the reason I felt good about it, as Jimmy pointed out the other day, I'm a green teamer now. You know,
yeah,
I'm all in.
Stunned me.
I'm all in.
John had a tweet that I thought was written. I don't know how he typed it with green pom poms in his hands. I don't know how he was able to type it, but it was like, I truly don't think this team could ever be stopped.
And I said it with that tone of voice. When I tweeted it, I was thinking like that.
And it wasn't tongue in cheek?
I truly don't think.
John just hit tweet, and he just watched the likes roll in. He's the green tea. They had a parade around his tweet.
They don't want me.
Like, I need more of these.
They don't want me.
Offshore. The duck boats.
They know I'll turn on them. Yeah, they know I will turn on them like that.
Well, that's the thing. That's the old trick. You compliment them, kill them with kindness, and then so that way you can criticize them once they don't live up to your high expectations for them.
So Nick, this is like Lucy
OG Nick. Thank you for the shout out. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. I agree. They turn it up when they want it. That's what I keep saying. Unstoppable. Sorry, Sherrod. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So John, you're just kind of like Lucy, and we're all Charlie Brown. You're just gonna gas our heads up, and the next thing you know, we're flat on our asses.
I'm gonna pull it, friggin'. I'm pulling the football out. No question about it. At some point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This was question. I love the fact that this was a game that they found a way to win, and they didn't get a great game from Tatum. They didn't get a great game from Jalen. Jalen was good. He was good, but he wasn't great. And let's be honest, OKC was giving them the business for 3 quarters. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is really, really, really good. You start looking at all the guys. Yeah, and I mean, they're a good. That's a good team. I mean, they're 6-8.
Jalen got worked.
Yeah, I mean, they got and Dort. I mean, damn, this was a guy that
Dort's thick, man.
He's thick and he can knock down shots now. Remember, this guy was horrible shooting the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he made Marcus Smart look kind of like Ray Allen on a lot of nights. That's not the case anymore. He's a good player. So this was a good one.
I like.
He'd be hard to cover.
I honestly like Brown getting cooked a little bit tonight because I do think sometimes he needs a little kickstart, and I think he actually plays well angry when he gets motivated and he slaps the ground and he gets all into it. Not a terrible thing for Jalen to kind of be like, that was bad. I got to show up next time and then maybe more often. because it's been kind of like an on and off defensive start to the year for him this year, which again doesn't bother me because it's the NBA. It's 82 games. It's early in the year. This team's going to be there in the end. It is a lot. We've talked about this a lot. It's a lot to expect night in, night out, high level defense. Even Tatum didn't have as high defensive, kind of mentality as he's had in some of the other games. It's hard for these guys on a night in, night out basis to be elite two-way players. I think they got to reach in their bag and get it when they want it. But yeah, Brown had a tough one with SGA, but he's killing everybody this year.
Yeah, but you know what though? Brown finished a +6 and like playing, guarding their best player like that.
He was good, and he was an efficient offensively. Yeah,
exactly. 11 of 21 from the field. So I mean, he didn't have his 3-point shot tonight, but again, it was just finding other ways to score, getting to the basket, getting to the line, whatever.
He went cold late a little bit, but he was really good early. He was efficient. Yeah. He definitely went a little cold late from
I think our guy D White hasn't gotten enough props in this episode. He had one of his best games of the season, I think, tonight.
D White?
Yeah, D White. He was bringing it in that fourth quarter.
Okay.
He was. Yeah, I mean, he kind of took the baton from Peyton there for a little bit. But I still think Peyton really was the catalyst to this comeback.
He was.
But you're right. I mean, Derek White was. I mean, basically they had like a bench relay team there where Peyton took it first, then it went on to Derek White, and then you had Tim Hauser made a shot here and there, but for the most part, wasn't really a significant factor. But Marcus Smart, was kind of the guy down the stretch there. So this was a good team win. This was a really good team win on a night when your best player did not have his best game.
Yeah, you really got to give Pritchard credit because he's been buried, a lot. Right, and for him to just come out and be ready and be prepared to go, that's a pro right there. That's somebody who knows that, he might go DNP-CD, but there's going to be a time where they're going to need exactly what he can provide, which is just energy, quick offense, a little boost, just sort of change the narrative and change the direction of where the game is, and that's what he did. So, yeah, he might be relegated to end of the bench again, depending. It might be a totally matchup-based situation, but I think a game like tonight will go a long way for him, and I think it'll go a long way for like a guy like Joe Mazzulla or whoever to have confidence in knowing that I can go to this guy if we need him in a pinch for whatever reason.
Yeah, and again on White, and they went guards, man. When Pritchard came in for Grant, they kind of stayed with the guards out there, and White was again huge, both with the huge 3-point shot that he hit late, but just in general. And you know what? We've talked about this a little bit.
3-point shot came out of nowhere.
We've talked about this
so
when he misses a bucket or two, especially makeable layups. He sometimes gets so frustrated, he gets in his own head. He got that weird offensive foul call that he didn't think in there, and he was really frustrated about that. Didn't really let that get to him. And again, just a really all-around amazing game with the steals, plus 21 here. I think a team high. He played 33 minutes. That's a lot of minutes. Derek White normally doesn't get that much run, so he was huge tonight. As well. For the life of me, I'm never going to understand what was going through his head on that goaltending, though. I can't.
When he hung on the rim?
Yeah.
And then he got called for a foul. I can't.
That whole sequence was just broke my brain. I didn't understand it at all.
Your brain fart in every sense of the word.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I think he hung on the rim because I think he was scared of landing on somebody, and he just.
I think so.
No.
He hung on the rim.
That sounds good, but I'm not buying it.
So
I just think
his brain just broke for a second?
I think he just had a brain fart. I do.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it was to be out of safety concern, no.
Oh, I guess I'm just a dipshit loser idiot then.
I'm just afraid.
Jimmy, those are your words, not mine. I wouldn't call you that to your face, but if
Jimmy's is
no, you didn't have to. You didn't have to, Sherrod. You didn't have to.
Jimmy's is the most plausible. Yeah. By the end of the night, Celtics will be the number 1 seed in the East if things hold, because the Hawks are taking it to the Bucks right now.
Get me on. Don't start with the playoff seeding, John. Come on. We're gonna do this. We're gonna start doing
playoffs. We're talking playoffs.
Playoffs.
You didn't say playoffs.
We'll do this with the playoff seedings. I got freaking people tweeting me that the Pats are gonna be. If the season ends today, the Patriots would be in the playoffs. It doesn't end today, so it's the dumbest argument ever. If the season ended today, We're 7 games into the season. Okay, it didn't end today, so let's just hold off on that type of a stat.
Are you done? You grumpy old. Are you okay?
That
Do you
was
need a
more
glass-
about the Patriots. That was more about the
Do you
Patriots.
need a glass
than
of
the
warm
Celtics.
milk or something? You're pretty ornery tonight.
That's the first thing I've said. If I can get a shot in at the Pats, I will.
You're pretty ornery right
He
now.
got himself going about the Patriots. Yeah, no one triggered that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No homeschool cookies tonight, Jimmy. Is that what happened? No
No,
homeschool
not
cookies.
tonight. Not
Damn it.
tonight.
Not tonight.
Jimmy bottle caps.
That's me.
So, hold on one second. Yeah, Jimmy bottle caps. Jimmy, the no more fiddling with the bottles, my man.
Yeah, it's called opening the bottle.
It's called audible on the show.
Omaha.
I take a drink of
Omaha.
my water. I twist the cap open. I take a drink. I put the cap back on. Apparently,
Jimmy
this
makes
is
it
now
sound like
an
there's some
issue.
instructions that
It's
we
an
need to
issue.
know how
Who's-
to open a damn bottle.
Who's
This my cap off, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm doing something wrong now. I've been opening bottles for 35 years, the
All
same
right,
way.
we're gonna take a break and regroup a little bit. Not a full break, but we're gonna
get
tell
a
you a little
20-second
bit.
timeout.
We're gonna quickly tell you about our sponsor.
Yeah, I could use calm right now, actually.
You want to go calm?
Well, you don't have to go.
Please, let's go
wherever you
calm
want.
off the
Let's start
top for
with-
Jimmy. Let's do
While
that.
we
Yeah.
text Bobby and see whose hands he's met right now, we'll talk to you about one of our favorite sponsors, one of our longest running sponsors, Calm, the Calm app. If you don't do it, if you're not doing it right now, you should, especially with the deal that we're offering here, which is 40% off a premium membership, which is great. Everyone here on the Garden Report is a religious Calm user. It's the #1 mental wellness app to give you the tools that improve the way you feel. You can
Think.
reduce stress and anxiety through guided meditations, improve focus with curated music tracks, rest and recharge with Calm's imaginative sleep stories for children and adults. There's even new daily movement sessions designed to relax your body and uplift your mind. And as I said, with that premium subscription, which you get if you go to calm.com/garden, they are renewing their catalog on a regular basis. So you always have new variety kind of coming in that door, new stuff that you can try out, which is great. 40% off that premium subscription. Again, 100 million people around the world use Calm to take care of their minds, stress less, sleep more, live a happier, healthier life. Again, calm.com/garden, 40% off, unlimited access to Calm's entire library. That's calm.com/garden. Go get yourself some Calm. Guys, other observations from tonight, and I'm going to...
How about that? This is just brown noise. It's called brownie and noise.
It sounds great on a podcast, especially.
It's supposed to just like take you to another level of calm.
Oh, you're taking us to another level.
Just check it out, brownie and noise.
Doing this,
Anyways,
Jimmy?
that was a little sneak peek. I wanted people to hear that. That's a new one. That's a new one.
We're still
Jimmy's
doing
that
this.
kid that when you tell him don't touch the stove because it's hot, he'll just say, "Is it hot? Is it really hot? Is it?" That's you, Jimmy, isn't it?
It might have been me. It might have been me. I've been known to burn my hand once or twice. Anyways, all right, John.
I just want to see. I want to see where you're taking the conversation next, Jimmy.
Nowhere. Absolutely
No,
nowhere.
you got nothing.
AG1.
We're on a road to nowhere.
We'll get there when we get there. Let's talk a little bit about the technicals because I know a lot of people are like, super
You
into
want to
that.
talk technicals? Let's talk.
Just
techs.
let me get there, okay? Tatum gets one. Tatum gets one.
It was
And
bullshit.
everybody,
It was
and we
bullshit.
all know it was bullshit, but that's not really the story. The story,
It
once
is.
again, is it isn't. It's going to be rescinded, so he has 4. He'll go back down to 3. The story is with both him and Grant, who both technicals, both for marginal reactions. Grant yelled and barked at an official, and so he's going to get that. Tatum was clapping in frustration. I think they'll clearly see that when they go and review it and take that one back. But what does that tell you? They have itchy trigger finger ready for both of those guys. These are both reputation tech. Both of those were pretty. Again, the Tatum one was ridiculous.
And you know
Ridiculous.
It was
You know
so
what,
dumb.
John? I haven't seen them be this silly since Rasheed Wallace was in the NBA. I actually saw Rasheed Wallace in person get a technical because he laughed at a player who fell on his ass trying to be physical with him. So Jonas Ilgauskas, it was in Cleveland. She picked up a tech from Jack Neese because he was laughing. And to John's point, it'll get rescinded, but that doesn't take away from the fact that that's a potential point that may have potentially cost you the game if things went a certain way. And that's the frustrating part about these reputational techs. You're led to believe that refs go into the games with no bias or limited bias. It's bullshit.
That's
And
bullshit.
we see it happen when guys get reputation techs. Draymond, he gets his share of reputational techs throughout the course of the season. But the thing about it is Tatum's techs are weird because he doesn't do a lot of the demonstrative stuff other than just raise his hands. He's not screaming and cussing and earning those techs the way a lot of guys do.
And that's the thing is he's done so much of this and that every gesture towars them, they're ready to.
They don't like the gestures. They don't like being shown up.
The shown up, but he's been way better. His complaining. That's the thing is he has text to show for it. His overall behavior and the way. And we're not just talking about like he's always on his best behavior like he's a child. We're simply talking about like it's actually not affecting his game the way that it was last year. Last year he'd take himself out of games just obsessing over it. Now it's kind of natural. He'll complain every once in a while, but he gets back in the play. He literally missed trips down the floor last year when he would. Also, he's finishing a lot more, so he's not just on his ass after a miss while the other team's going 5-on-4 the other way. But I mean, it really impacted his game. It would get in his head, and it's not happening this year at all. But he's still getting reputation text right now because he'd done it for so long. He's to build back some goodwill.
You know what I hate is these new rules now, or the refs are calling this, that, and the other thing. You got to allow the players to be emotional, right? I mean, the situation tonight, Tatum's just mad about.
I think he was mad at the
screwed
foul.
Something up. Yeah, he was mad at
he
himself.
He had a possession the last time, had a frustration foul that time, and then he got mad. He got mad at himself.
Allow these guys to have feelings, please. Like, do we have to be robots out there? Come on, like. So I think it's way over the top now what these refs have been told to do or what they've decided to take upon themselves. But yeah, John, to your point, the refs walk into the referee locker room and there is a Jason Tatum target and a Grant Williams target, and it's very easy for them to say, oh yeah, those are the guys that we have to keep an eye out on tonight. And it's going to be that way for a bit. It just is what it is. I don't know who Grant Williams thinks he is to complain as much as he does. He's never going to get superstar calls. It's just accept the penalties that get called on him, or the fouls that get called on him, and he's not helping himself by, reacting and being the way that he is, after some of those calls. But
I just wonder if some of that stuff that residuals from Grant constantly talking, that Tatum's catching some of those strays. Tatum, obviously, there's a lot of reputation calls, but I'm wondering, is it some of what Grant is getting rubbing off on Tatum, or is what some of Tatum's doing rubbing off on Grant? Because they're the two guys that are kind of magnets for this stuff. And to me, the irony of that is the one guy who typically is the most emotionally charged is Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
And yet he doesn't.
He doesn't bitch about calls.
It's a style thing, right? That's the thing. Is right. It really is the frustration and the showing up thing. It's league wide. I think they've got a quicker whistle with a lot of it. But you're right. Certain people have been flagged, and Tatum's one of them. So again, he's building back some goodwill after a few years of just kind of, being ridiculous. But honestly, this officiating crew was dumb and petty and like lost a lot of the times. I didn't get a lot of what they did tonight. They seemed in over their heads on a lot of stuff. There was no flow at all, no consistency. What was a foul, what wasn't a foul. They called some of the most ticky-tack shit and then would just let maulings go uncalled. It was so both ways, just a weird, inconsistent game. They never had control of it at any point in time. So it was a brutally officiated game, both sides. I think the Celtics might have gotten the worst of it. With some, I mean, some is just head scratchingly bad.
Yeah.
I want
And
to also say, no, you
go
go.
ahead, Jimmy. No, you got it, Jimmy. You got it.
I was going to say, I want to say one other thing about just the technical. Yeah, it won't mean anything in the end because it will get rescinded because it was that ridiculous. But if he picked up a second technical for something else later in the game, that's it for him. And so it doesn't matter if you rescind it after the fact. Same with, you kick a coach out of the game. Oh, you want to rescind it after the fact. Well, you just kicked the coach out of the game, and now like that's a huge disadvantage to your team. So you can't be so quick with these technical fouls because the second one and you're done. So Jason Tatum didn't get hit with the second one tonight, but if it only took him that much to get hit with the first, it kind of makes you think about the way you're acting out, the way you're playing. If maybe you're a little bit too scared to be as emotional as you typically would be because you don't want to get hit with another unfair tech. But these refs, like, there's no repercussions for them either. Like, what happens to the ref after he makes a horrible call like this? Does he get spoken to by, whatever the I know not Silver, but I mean, I'm sure that there's got to be somebody that these guys have to answer to if they have a badly, refereed game. Doesn't seem like they do, though. They just keep the same stuff.
Ricky, you got that quote wrong. It's attitude reflects leadership, Captain. But that's okay. I know what he was trying to say there. Remember the Titans. Remember the Titans. That guy should have been a bigger star, by the way.
Bertier or Julian?
Julian. That actor.
Yeah, both actors I thought could have been bigger stars. That was a great movie.
Wood Harris should have been a bigger star. He was obviously great as Avon Barksdale, but I thought he was awesome. He should have been a star. Anyway, we talked a little bit about Pritchard coming in. Grant never got his ass back in the game after Pritchard came in, and Grant had a couple of rough moments there in that third quarter, back to back. He got absolutely dusted. Was it by Dort? I can't remember. He got crossed over and taken to the hoop really badly. And then he had that horrible, just ridiculous three, foul attempt on the three. And then they sat his ass down on the bench, and he never got back up.
And that was talking Grant.
Well, the reason I'm talking Grant is there was a story today, and I know Bobby's going to want to get into this, but Bobby and I, last game, you basically had three like real players who played, not really three, but Grant, Smart, and Tatum carried the entire game last game. So we gave Grant a lot of props, and naturally we got into his contract situation. My general stance is that the Celtics have drawn a pretty hard line about how far they're willing to go with Grant, and I don't know that they're ever going to go past it. There was a story today.
What's the line you think?
A hoops hype story that said that the Celtics never even went to 14, which is what Grant would have taken, and they stopped at 12. I don't know what they think Grant's value is. I don't know, Sherrod, what you're hearing and talking to people where you think they're willing to go. But it's always that existential dilemma, right? Like, how valuable is Grant? How valuable is he to you? How valuable is he to everyone else? Is it worth overpaying him some just to keep him here, or
they're saying $20 million now for him?
Yeah, I mean that's been the kind of the high mark, 18 to 20, and I just think it's a lot. But I don't know where you think the Celtics are in regards to how far they're willing to go here.
I don't think they're willing to go much past the mid-teens for him, and truthfully, that's pretty much where his market value is going to be. I don't think anyone's going to pay $20 million a year for Grant Williams.
That's what I say.
And no, that's no disrespect to his game. It's just that when you think about guys who have those type of contracts, they're either ridiculously talented right now, and you're just trying to pay them for what they're able to do, or they have a tremendous amount of upside to them that is obvious to anyone who has seen him play. Grant, he's a good player. And he's going to be at any better. He's going to be a solid player for the next 8, 9, 10 years. But is that worth $20 million in 2022? I don't think so. I think ultimately he's going to wind up with something in the mid-teens. It'll probably be like a 3 years, $50 million deal or something like that recognizes him for what he's capable of doing going forward. But you don't feel as though you're overpaying significantly for him. Like, to me, 3 years, $45 million is a sweet number if you're the Celtics. That's
3 years.
That's just perfect. But Grant's probably looking for a little bit more than that and could probably get that. So a lot's just going to depend on how much is he willing to potentially sacrifice to stay in Boston, and will it be a number that is going to scare teams off? Because if you can get Grant for $15 million, there's a ton of teams that are willing to do that. How high are you willing to go if you're Boston if you know that 15 isn't going to get it done? 17,
I just
18?
think you have too many other. I just think you have too many other guys that you need to pay, like before Grant.
There's too many guys you are paying. That's kind of the point.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Kind of it.
Yeah.
But you got Jalen coming, right? I mean, that's obviously
Already paid him, but you got to pay him again.
right.
Paid him. You already
Yeah,
paid
you gotta
him.
pay him
Got to
again.
pay him again.
Right.
And Grant's like, yo, I do realize I haven't got that paycheck yet.
Right.
So what are we gonna do here? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't think he's a $20 million a year player. No way. I mean, I know he does hit 3-pointers at a very high rate, and that's his thing. And he's a 3-and-D guy, and I know that that's important. But I don't put him up in that on of 3-and-D guys. I don't have him there yet. Maybe
He's
maybe,
not. He's
But
not.
the NBA,
He's not
the
a
NBA
classic.
will
he's,
though.
He's
You
not
know,
a
I'm saying it only takes one
guy, guys.
team. It only takes one dumb
Right.
team, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking
It
for a
happens.
starting power forward that can stretch the floor and defend on the other end. Like I don't see why not, honestly. Like I just think his value will go up that high if obviously he remains on this track that he's on right now at this pace, right? I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if one of those bottom feeding teams give him that much, 19, 20 million a year for Grant.
That's a losing proposition if you're a bottom feeding team to pay that kind of money to someone like Grant. That's a guy you put on a winning team, and most winning teams don't have that kind of money.
Well,
that's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
but
Is you gotta
his
be
his
smart.
value is through the roof right now.
No, I disagree, but yeah, that's what we're gonna find out, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's
It's interesting
That's-
because
So what you saying?
people
You
have
think this is a fluke?
People's opinions are
You
so
think he
different.
can sustain this?
I think he is roughly the 7th best player on this team, and that's what he would be on a championship level team. 6th or 7th best guy. You're paying that guy $20 million. That's a lot. You pay somebody that kind of money, you want him to jump in and be able to start, or most teams, that's a lot of that. I understand the cap keeps going up and going up and going up, but again, he's no better than what? Your 8th best player? I mean, you're paying your 8th
Maybe
best player
7th.
$20 million? Again,
Oh, I'm
when
not
you
saying
have-
Celtics should do
when
that.
you have
I just
Rob
think that
healthy,
they can
you have
they'll
the
get
Jay,
outbid.
you have the Jays, Marcus, Rob, obviously Al right now, and then Brogdon,
Malcolm.
and then it's a question of is he more valuable to you than White? But that's it, 7, 8. That's kind of where he slots in this team.
7,
Like that's, let's be real. I like him a lot.
Right, but
Yeah.
these types of players, they will get paid on another team. That's how it goes. That's why you were in a position to win last year with the roster of somebody like him who's getting paid that amount of money. Eventually, you're not going to find somebody that good to be able to pay that at that low dollar value. This year you do, but that's why it's so important to take care of business when you have the opportunity, because it becomes very difficult to piece together a contending roster as guys. You just don't have the money for it. You need to keep drafting well in order for it to happen.
And it's a question of whether or not Wick will pay that, because again, talking about heavy tax stuff. We're gonna talk a little
Also,
bit more
John,
about this
Coffee
game.
won't.
Go ahead, Josue.
Well, no, I was just gonna say real quick. I mean, who's next, right? If Grant were to leave, you feel comfortable giving that role to Cornette? Like does Vonleh get a shot at that? Like I just feel like they're so thin in the front court that Grant's his value is going to keep going up and up just because of what the Celtics have on the rest of the roster, especially in the front court.
I don't know.
We will see
think
where it
they'll
goes. We're going
find
to talk a little
somebody for
more, as I
less.
said, about this game. I want to tell you again, we got a couple of sponsors here, so we don't want to go without telling you about Athletic Greens, which again, by now you guys all know everything about Athletic Greens, but we're going to tell you about it again. It is, why did we start doing it? Because it makes us feel awesome. That's why we started doing it. And they sent it to us for free. So we're like, why not? And it turns out we like it. Everybody here at the Garden Report uses it. We wanted what? What did I want? All of the things it has to offer: better gut health, energy, optimized immune system. Hated taking pills and vitamins. Wanted a supplement that actually tasted great. Wanted to see what it was all about. So we tried it. We liked it. 75 high quality vitamins, minerals.
Yeah.
whole food source ingredients, boom, in a scoop of water, you're done. Lifestyle, diet friendly, widely supported and endorsed by medical professionals and athletes and celebrities. So again, right now, time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop, as we said, a cup of water. That's it. Every day, once a day. It's about $3 a day instead of going out and getting a zillion different pills and supplements and trying to kind of cobble it together. Boom, one little scoop, done. And that's all you need. To make it easier, we're going to give you a little gift, a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit that website right there, athleticgreens.com/garden.
Yeah.
Once again, athleticgreens.com/garden. Take ownership of your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Okay.
Couple travel packs.
Yep.
Toss them in the old duffel bag. Hit the gym. You guys used to hit the gym.
Jimmy's got to get his 2 cents in. I love it.
I got a home gym. It's right here.
Part of the read.
It's right there.
Oh, I bet. Is that Bike Watch?
I'm here for it. I like it.
I got the bike there and the bench right there, and then my office on this side of the room. It's right there.
And your clothes, and so you got hanging out over your weight bench and everything.
Yeah, Jimmy, that's what I got.
Yeah.
It's been a while, right? I'll never forget when you
That's what I got.
mid-show you just decided to go on a workout just to demonstrate
Hop
how
on the
distracting
bike.
it is.
Go for bike
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, that was good.
Bike Watch is
Bike watch Zannis.
over.
Al does it. Al does it from
Does
time
he?
to time. Yeah.
We'll allow
We doesn't
that.
talk about it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it, guys. Anything else left over for this show? For this game here, we got a nice little road trip coming up. Should be fun. It's Josue party time. Heading to New Orleans and Chicago, but before that,
You
we
going
got
to New Orleans?
Atlanta.
Damn.
I am. Sherrod's going to Atlanta though, so we're gonna be on the road.
I am.
Oh wow.
Garden Report on the road. So you're in Atlanta, and is that the only part of the trip, or you're doing
That
New
is
Orleans
the
too?
only part of the trip.
Gotcha.
He's gonna pass the baton to your boy, John. So
And then
Wow.
Josue covering the next two
Josue's
games
not
on the
allowed-
road.
To go to Atlanta.
you would say that, Jimmy. No, that's not. No, that's not. Don't get that out there like that. That's not what happened, right?
See, what happened was, yeah.
No, Sherrod. Don't try to sound like an inside, like it's an inside joke, because people will take that seriously, right?
Oh,
Okay,
man.
Josue.
Atlanta's for next time.
I plead the
Maybe next
fifth.
time.
Both teams
FIF.
play hard. Both teams play hard.
Oh,
John,
You're not
don't encourage
defined.
this behavior. Get in here, all right?
I'm just.
what else
you know.
about this game? Nothing. I think we hit most of the stuff on this
No,
game.
that's the good stuff. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun to win these types of games
Yeah.
when you're not playing your best, when you didn't show up for the first bit. And it was just. I mean, you guys tell me that comeback from Pritchard and his plays late in the third all the way through. The crowd seemed lit in that.
Mhm.
They were into it.
They did seem extremely loud. Brought the energy. tonight.
extremely loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a Monday night OKC game. Hi, Bobby.
Oh, you know why? It was
Hey.
seats for shoulder. It was seats for soldiers night. So they probably had a lot of soldiers. They,
Military
getting
personnel.
after it. Yeah, military guys and girls are just
Shore
happy to be
leave.
there.
Yeah. Some rowdy shore leave.
What's up, Bobby?
Bobby, you got
up?
like
Like
4
in-
minutes to tell us what you think about the game.
Bring the
and then we'll
energy,
shut it
bud.
down.
Bring the energy.
Bring it.
What do you got for us?
This team just keeps finding a way. Yeah, you got to be impressed by how they just scrap out wins out of pretty bad starts in some of these games. Like this is a big hill they climbed in this one. 15 points in the second half. This was probably the second biggest deficit, or second longest deficit rather, that they've faced this year. They're pretty much down through the whole end of the second quarter, tie a third, good portion of the fourth. And, they were certainly aided by a parade of turnovers from the Thunder there. I had never really seen anything like that. It was like every other possession in the second half, the Thunder were turning over. So it's almost like they hit the tank button, gave you half what you needed there. But for Truth's end to the third, you can't imagine his insertion in place of Brogdon going much better than it has so far, as well as some super awesome outlet passes by Smart to really fix that transition game, which had been a mess throughout much of that second half. White missing layups, other guys botching finishes. Tatum had a really bad attempt in transition in the second half. So they all just settled down. John and I talked about Smart all pretty much last postgame show after that awesome performance in Detroit, and this one was even better. He just keeps getting better game in and game out, settling this group down, making big plays. The left-handed layup was pretty much nicer in this one. He pretty much set up their last 4 scoring possessions there. So everything's just rolling good for this team. You don't love the defense, but they clamp up late. You don't love the playmaking throughout much of this one, but everybody settles down and makes big plays late. Even Derek White had another big 3. Across the board, it's just impressive stuff that they're doing in terms of consistency. Because I got worried in that first half. You started to see the threes not fall again. You started to see some frustration with the refs, and you're like, all right, this is going to be the formula for their bad loss for this team. And then they find their way out of it again. Like this team just really has a knack for finding ways to win, and it's just another thing that makes you think that this group could be special this year. And that's a good Thunder team on the other side too. I said that on Saturday. They were going to come in here and really test you the way they defend. Poku, I don't know what got into him tonight, but that was as good as I've ever seen him. Shy with another 35. It's a solid team.
It's a fun team. I like how you said hit the tank button, because it's kind of like, okay, we've done enough here. Everybody stop.
I've seen that with so many bad teams. It's like Presti hits a button upstairs.
Okay, what's that? Yeah, okay, yeah, no, throw it to the other team.
Okay.
Got it.
Got the message from upstairs.
Okay,
that's it. We saw what we needed to do.
Who's wearing the green dot here?
I mean, they had 7 turnovers in the first 6 minutes of the fourth. That was ridiculous. And then they just kept flowing from there.
What was that one turnover they had that I couldn't even tell what happened? Did they throw it off the back?
Yeah, Giddey just threw it off the back of the backboard after a
nice.
Frustrating play. Whatever happened the play before, I forget. But I hadn't seen that in a long time. I don't even know if I've seen that in the NBA. That's like LeBron did that a couple years ago, I remember.
Yeah, that was a tough minute or two for them. But yeah, they're a young team, and you could see, at points they needed to be reeled in a little bit, and the Celtics kind of showed off the difference between a team with some good quality veterans and a team like the Thunder that they have a lot of talent, and they're fun to watch. Certainly, we were saying earlier, like, we don't really get a chance to watch them that much because rarely are they on national TV, and you just don't get a chance to watch them. But they are fun. But the Celtics took care. They took care of business in that fourth quarter. Your guy Marcus Smart, Bobby, we think that he may have had one of his best fourth quarter of his career in some ways.
This stretch is incredible for him. These last I don't know how many games. He's had 5 or 6. I hate the hyperbole saying best in career sort of thing, but
he's on a run, definitely.
Really complete all-around games, after a rocky start to the season. It's really been unbelievable. And I feel like it was one of those, there was a rock-bottom turning point game where he just had one of those brutal, 1 of 9 shooting, 2 of 16 from the field, and everybody's screaming, stop! And then sometimes he has to, do that to check himself and be like, yeah, let's do all the other stuff I do. But he's been awesome, both ends of the floor, defensively too, but he was just so plugged in tonight. And so aggressive when they needed him to be. And especially you see him sometimes step up offensively. Jimmy pointed it out earlier when you have Tatum's when especially if Tatum's having a rough shooting game, and it's like, where's the offense going to come from? Or you need to kind of kickstart them and get them out of their habit of jacking too many threes, or Marcus will just be like, I'm going to go really hard at the basket and try to make something happen. And he did it a few times tonight. And again, his energy was unreal the whole night.
That's also what we talked about.
And even when they weren't trying in the first half, I felt like he was one of the few guys who was consistently bringing effort early throughout the game. And he was trying to kind of pull everybody along with him, and he eventually did.
Yeah, Brown offensively too, I thought was solid early. And this is what we talked about on Saturday with Smart. You'll take some of those rougher games and the nights where he shoots 17 times, and you love the aggression because it can create moments like this. And we've seen some of these games from him in the past where he lifts them up offensively, gives them an outlet. Horford close on the up and down there, but finding him, trusting him in that spot, getting him a big three. The crafty finishes around the rim. He's not a great finisher, but man, does he just make it happen in there sometimes. And that's all so important. And it helps him as a facilitator too, because we can say pass, 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 pass all day long. But if he's never looking to score, he's going to be a less effective passer. This, makes the defense account for him. Like, they have to get out from him as a three-point shooter because he's been so aggressive with that shot in his career. And as he's driven more, it's no coincidence that he's become a better passer, better playmaker. And man, those outlets he throws in transition, those are just pristine. And when you're a team that wants to get out on the run, those are so important. Him and Horford are like experts at that. This was perfect game from Smart. Really was.
Perfect game. We love it. We're going to wrap it because it's late. It's Monday. Sherrod has a full slate of classes tomorrow, so we want to let the poor guy go. And then he's got to go.
Before we get out of here, one Brown on the latest with the Kyrie stuff.
Well, we heard it. Jaylen Brown not happy with Josue. Bobby, you were in on the press conference, so you can kind of debrief here. But, this isn't the first time he said it, but he really went hard at him tonight.
Yeah, basically saying, what are you guys doing as business owners, as Nike, as Josue in your positions? Because the language he really didn't like to explain himself was that Kyrie's got to do more. And, I think that's more of a legal defensive Irving than anything else through the union. But, he's not satisfied with companies that are showing a double standard toward Irving in terms of his approach to whatever you want to call it. He didn't really explain what that is that he's looking for from Zion companies or anything.
But he's not the first person to say this either. I mean, LeBron alluded to it. Like, there's a lot of people that do have an issue with this laundry list of demands that it's being taken, and Kyrie Irving kind of being brought to heel over this, which obviously everyone understands the magnitude, the severity of the stuff that he said. But like, there's a lot of people who've taken this kind of approach on this, which is like, is this too much? Like, and I don't know, what do you guys think about the list of demands and the fact that there's still?
Well, do we know what they've asked of him?
Yeah. It's pretty well spelled out. I'm sure, Rod, your opinion?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is that it feels as though you're asking something that you're not willing to do, or you haven't done before. And I think for the average fan, they're at a point where they don't really think about it, but the players do. And this is something that, again, with players and owners and collective bargaining agreements that are coming up fairly soon, this may somehow leak its way into that discussion. And that's the last thing anyone wants, for this to be part of that conversation. Because remember, Kyrie, we're not just talking about a really good NBA player. He's one of the leaders of the Players Association. And so they're going to absolutely stick up for him. They're going to have his back. And they're looking at Cy and say, well, you want him to do X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. What the hell are you doing? How are you making this thing better? And even though, obviously he doesn't come with the same level of controversy that Kyrie does, that doesn't mean that you treat him differently. And you set a standard of expectations for him that are unique to him. So I get why they did it. I just don't think that this is yet another example of Brooklyn screwing up something that really is kind of hard to screw up.
I don't know what it has to do with Josue, but I do know what it has to. But I do believe what you said earlier, relative to what other people have been asked to do in other similar circumstances when they've kind of put their foot in their mouth, said something insensitive. Has it ever been this severe? The ask. And the list of things that were required to return. I think that's the argument. Yeah, that's an argument for sure. I don't know why Jaylen, what the issue is with everybody's individual. Everyone could do more. I don't think Josue is saying I've done everything I could do. And look, this is a business owner. I understand both sides of it. The laundry list is ridiculously long and it's unprecedented compared to what other people have had to live with or had to do to get their way back on the court or get back in good graces or do whatever after they'd said something stupid or said something insensitive. And Kyrie's not the first person to do it. But if you're a business owner and you think Kyrie is volatile and you're super concerned that, he could possibly go down that road or a different road and tarnish your franchise or your brand or your name even further, maybe you do want to put extra safeguards in place. Maybe the list is put there because they actually don't want him to meet all of those expectations, because they want him to go away, or they want an excuse to get rid of him because they don't want to be associated with him anymore because they think he's bad for their brand. So as a business owner, I understand saying, I don't know if I feel good about this guy being here and representing me. So I'm going to make it really, really, really hard for him to come back, or I'm going to make damn certain he's not going to repeat this again. So I can see it from that point of view. But from the player's perspective, it's like, what the F? You guys are just going to arbitrarily make up a bunch of shit. So like, I understand Jalen's defense as well. So again, like most things, it's a more nuanced conversation than, one side or the other, or right versus wrong here.
And just the open-ended nature of the suspension is really troublesome.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, what does
After
that
he
mean?
completes that, then we'll start to discuss a return. And again, I get it. I get it from both sides.
Yeah, and I always looked at that suspension as them sending him away indefinitely and not want anything else to do with him. So at this point, they do have to make a decision. If you're going to have him back, you got to reintegrate him sooner rather than later. He has checked off a number of these from what I can see, right, in terms of apologizing. Did he condemn the movie or not? I mean, we're going to play that game for like ever now. Like he says he did. They're not happy with it. It feels like at this point, they just want him to bow down and just beg for mercy. He's not going to do what
he's not, and the players should be defending him. And I think, and it makes sense. I get the defense of it, and
so,
I get
it. Either get rid of him or bring him back after the suspension's done here, and it is done as of Saturday, the 5 games. So
yeah,
I think at this point, aren't we all I don't know if he's done enough, but he's done something at this point, right? So that's kind of the push and pull with it. I don't love how he's handled this. I don't love how they've handled it. And I don't like how a lot of people have talked about this situation. But at the end of the day, he is where he is. You can judge him for it, but I think he deserves to be back on the court at this point.
Yeah. And that's where it's at. I agree. I think the Nets botched this response. I think there should have been very definitive, clear blank game suspension, and then he returns, and that should have been that. So it's gotten a little ridiculous.
That was a cover for themselves to make them look good. I think
whether it's that or, as I said, is ultimately the only thing I could think of is they just wanted him to they wanted him to go away. I don't really know it, but they botched this too. Yeah. They botched it. All right. So, so that's out there. You can check that out. You can go over on our YouTube channel. We'll have the full press conference in addition to some post-game videos Bobby and Josue will do talking about tonight's game, looking ahead to the upcoming road trip. Again, fun one. You've got Atlanta, New Orleans, maybe without Zion. We'll see. He's got a foot injury. You never want to see that guy with a right foot injury. That's what kept him out for about a year and a half. And he's got a sprained ankle or foot. It's that right foot that got surgery and gave him a lot of problems. So we'll see if he's good to go there. And if not, obviously that game has a little less interest, but it's still a fun matchup. Atlanta should be really fun on Wednesday, so Sherrod will be down there for that. And then we've got Chicago and New Orleans and Chicago coming up. So fun little trip. Competitive teams, some good games here again. Cool. Reminder, check out our sponsors, Athletic Greens, AG1. Go to athleticgreens.com/garden. Free 1-year supply, vitamin D, 5 free travel packs. Again, 75 vitamins, minerals, 1 scoop in a cup of water. Get what you need with AG1. And of course, Calm, #1 mental wellness app, calm.com/garden. Receive 40% off a Calm premium subscription. And that's what we all need right now. Some people in the comments think Sherrod has had a little too much Calm.
Both teams played hard.
Not quite. Both teams played hard tonight.
Yep, both teams played hard. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I actually think the Kyrie thing is going to be resolved sooner than later. It sounds like I think
resolved
they will let him back
in what capacity?
I think he comes back and he plays.
Yeah.
and then I think he stops. You know,
Or do they trade him?
He's not just gonna come back and play, and everything's gonna be all hunky dory for the rest of the season. Like
No.
drama
Oh, wait
follows
till the
this
first
guy.
time he hits the podium, Jimmy.
Drama follows this guy. Like if you think he's just gonna play out the season and the Nets are gonna like be a playoff team, like, it's not gonna happen that way.
And by the way, they've been better without him.
I know they've been playing way better
A
without
lot
him.
better. A lot better without him.
So
by the way, unrelated to Kyrie, you've seen the Wizards' record without Beal,
no.
4-0.
You know,
Yeah, he hasn't been great. I didn't think he was great here in Boston that afternoon. But
He
Porzingis
was
looking
hot.
good. Some of the other guys.
yeah,
Wow,
when-
friggin' the Commanders take out the Eagles.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
Did I hold on in fantasy?
Jeez,
note
I
on
hope
Twitter.
so, Bobby. Will that get you to 3-7? What's that going to do for you?
Yeah. This is the trade
I
deadline
like
week,
3
right?
and 7. 3 and 7 look good to me right about now.
That would.
Yeah, I took an L. I took an L this week. Amit
I took
dropped
another,
150.
I took another 2-point L. I just can't take it.
I'm
Anyway,
dropping points, but I'm bad matchups.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. All right, we're done. We're done. We're going to wrap it up.
All right.
Celtics win. Very
night,
fun,
guys.
entertaining game. 126-122, coming from a 15-point deficit down. And that is that. We're back on Wednesday night. Thanks to Sherrod, Bobby, Josue, and of course, Jimmy Toscano here from the very beginning, holding down the fort while those guys do their work. Thanks
Jimmy
for watching.
Bottle Caps.
Jimmy Bottle Caps. Yeah.
add it to the list.